Here we are in my kitchen slash workshop. I've already broke everything down. You don't need to see me disassemble. There's no magic there. Everything looks to be pretty good. I did put a little bit of lube on the, I did just put a little bit of lube on there. It was somewhere, it looks like the gears maybe had worked some off of the spline, so I put a little bit there. Cleaned out. Need to work on holding things with my left hand. Cleaned out the anti-reverse bearing just a little bit. Important thing about this bearing, you never want to put any lube or anything in here that you don't clean out. If you do, it's not going to work. The lube is going to allow it to spin backwards when you don't want it to spin backwards. Not necessarily the whole reel, but the bearing itself. So I just run a paper towel in there and just kind of spin it around there. I've had a few reels out of the box that for whatever reason there just is a little bit of trash in there, and that little bit of trash is just enough to cause that to not be silky. I like my stuff silky. Alright, so we're going to go with putting this back now. I'll hold that like that. Probably ought to put this in first. May need that later. Just make sure that seats. If you have to force anything, you're probably not doing something quite right. And it fits. Alright, this is another part. This is what actually contacts that anti-reverse, so this just needs to be clean. Fat side goes up. Alright, that seats down nice and easy. Very important also, there's two small screws on the top of this anti-reverse bearing, and there are three kind of wider head screws. The three wider head screws are the ones you want to take off unless you're feeling really industrious and really curious. I would advise against taking those up, because then the whole bearing itself will come apart, and that's a headache that I don't need. I've heard enough folks warn against that. So I would probably rate this on a smoothness when it was brand new. I mean, if we're talking a Stella is a well-tuned Stella is a 10, I would probably give this a 6. Yeah, that may sound harsh, but I'm being a little critical. I just try to be as honest as I can, so I'll know, when I put it back together, if it feels any better. So I just try to be objective like that. Why is it not? It is tight. Didn't look tight, but it was tight. Okay, the rotor looked nice and clean. No issues there. Now another thing, about when you take the rotors off. See this thing that's turning? That's called a friction ring, and your friction ring is basically designed when you're making a cast and the bail is open, so that you sling it, the rotor doesn't spin around and the bail flip closed. If you're throwing a $20 plug, especially for those surf guys, you're throwing a $20 plug and that bail flips prematurely before all the energy is dissipated and the bait falls gently into the water and gets eaten by a fish. You're upset. So this friction ring, what that does when the bail flips, it actually puts friction on this ring. Typically that's what it does. It's only ever a problem on some models where when the friction ring gets wet, it'll actually swell, and you'd almost swear you've got sand or rocks or some other such such nonsense in your reel when it's actually just that ring has gotten wet and is being a pain. And this should be a there are some reels that are righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, or they're the opposite, reverse thread, however you want to phrase it. You want to get that good and snug. I wouldn't put it German tight, good and tight, because a lot of these things have they're just they're aluminum or some other such not super strong metal. Well, we're gonna this is just a locking screw. It's not anything magical. But it was probably in the other one when I took the reel apart the first time. These are just it's not a precision thing, just designed to keep the screw that holds the rotor down from coming out, because as long as that screw's there, the rotor nut's not going to be able to turn. So it's pretty cool. Alright, so you'll notice I'll show when I'm done my little work area. It's not it's nothing extraordinary, but it does help you early on, especially to be organized, because a lot of these reels do have spacers, and a lot of them do have, where'd that go? Oh, it's stuck to the top there. So that goes there. They have spacers and things that the reel just won't line up right. Other things are these little spacers here that fit under the spool. If you ever have line lay that's uneven either way, it's got something to do with those. It's got something to do with those. Trying to figure out there we go. It just hadn't quite seated on that. I knew because it wasn't clicking that something wasn't right. That wasn't tightening. So there was 2 and 2 are 4. There's something not lined up right. Alright. Another thing, when you're storing your reels, you want to make sure you keep that kind of loose. One of the things I will be upgrading here relatively short is going to be putting some Carbon Tex washers up in here. And what that will do is they're just a little more durable, give you a little more drag. And I'm not a big, gotta have, 30 pounds of drag before the reel's any good, because, truthfully, a 4000 is not meant to hold but so much drag. I used to, I bought some Symmetry 1000s back when about 5 or 6 years ago, we had a lot of puppy drum in the bay. And I said, I'm gonna buy these 1000s. I'm gonna throw 10-pound braid on them, and I'm gonna see if I can't just blow one up. Never did it. I had a lot of fun trying though. Gosh, if I could only fish for one fish. I mean, do you go largemouth? Do you go smallmouth? Do you go striper? Do you go red drum? I don't know. Don't hold a gun to my head and make me decide. I want to fish them all. Every fish is a blessing from God, and I want to pet every one of them. Alright, I said initially this was a 6. I believe that little bit of lube, cleaning the anti-reverse, I think we're at an 8. I think we're at a solid 8 now. I really felt like I had maybe some whirring. I've had those friction rings actually just kind of, if they're not seated quite right, you'll get a the anti-reverse bearing. I've had those, like I said, were right out of the box. They just had a little bit of, a little bit maybe a tarnish, a little bit of oil, a little bit of dirt, whatever. Man, that thing is singing now. It's ready. It's ready to go. It's 80 degrees here in Central Virginia. It's late June. The skies are clear, the winds are light, and I'm sitting at a kitchen table. I can't explain it. Well, look, I'm Brent. This is Shimano Baitrunner 4000 OC. I'm looking forward to putting a little shot of mine on here. Putting 150 yards of Yellow Power Pro. Probably going to put it on a 6.6 medium. I really like the Terramars. I really love St. Croix. I'm going to find one that suits it. You really want to have a limber action when you're chumming. You got to remember those fish are feeding on that bait that's just, they're used to seeing that bait just free falling down. So when they see something that falls and stops and they go to touch it and it pulls back, that's not natural. It's also not natural to have food just falling out of the sky. But if that same fish is eating a bait, they're used to the bait trying to get away. So, all bets are off. Well, look, just remember, God loves you. And I might not know you yet, but hey, I hope to see you on the riverbank, on the water, with a fish in your hand, a smile on your face, and hopefully your equipment's working, doing what it's supposed to do. But I sure do love fishing, and I hope to see y'all. Thanks.